All right, in a development that is sure to remind many of the Wuhan lab incident, Chinese scientists have experimented with a mutant coronavirus strain that has proven 100% lethal to genetically modified mice. Now, according to this study released from Beijing, the deadly virus known as GXP2V attacked the brains of mice that had been engineered to reflect the genetic makeup of people, human beings. Now, given the death toll and the economic havoc brought on by COVID-19, why are scientists continuing such dangerous studies? I mean, how should governments worldwide reckon with this? And is the United States funding any of this? Should we be concerned? With me to talk about this, Dr. Robert Malone, Chief Medical and Regulatory Officer for the Unity Project and an internationally recognized physician scientist who specializes in advanced development of medical countermeasures to infectious diseases. I think we're getting him connected. This is quite alarming if what we're reading is in fact true, that these scientists are again doing gain-of-function research with a virus, a coronavirus, given the fact that we know what happened last time. Joining me now is Dr. Malone. Dr. Malone, welcome back to the program.
Thanks a lot, Tony. I concur. This is alarming, and they seem to have learned nothing.
Is the United States involved in this?
Well, we do know that the United States provides funding through a variety of different sources to the Wuhan Institute of Virology. So indirectly, that's got to be the truth. Is it directly involved? This is too early to tell, and I don't think that's disclosed in the manuscript that you're citing.
Right.
But there's no question that our fingers are all over the Wuhan Institute of Virology and the research going on there, and particularly the coronavirus research.
Okay, I want to ask this question. Why? Why would we be doing these types of research, especially given what happened with COVID-19?
Tony, I have to speculate because I can't get into the minds of the people that are doing this. That's kind of rule number one. But there is an ethic that if things can be done, they should be done, that is rampant in this research environment, in this research culture. That these scientists often believe that they're the best and the brightest, and they're entitled to do this. Now, beyond that, there is this contrived logic that this dual function research is what it's technically called, because it can be used for weapon purposes or for research and discovery purposes. The belief is that if scientists can meddle about with these viruses and demonstrate ways that they can become more lethal, then they can anticipate that happening in nature. That's the justification. But clearly what we've learned over the last 4 years is that that's not sufficient to justify the risk to the global population.
I would think that at some place ethics would come into this when you, I mean, when you just laid out. I mean, maybe we can do it. Maybe there might be a remote chance that we want to get ahead of this. But when you weigh the risk with this and the fact that people will die if it leaks, like many suspect it did last time, where are the ethical considerations?
Well, thanks for saying that. And this is what I originally highlighted when I kind of came out of the closet metaphorically on the COVID crisis, is the gross ethical failures that were ongoing. And of course, we're here on a broadcast that's very focused on the role of religion, theology, and its importance in the world in guiding our ethical decisions. I argue that this really has to be revisited in a major way. We need to have the biowarfare treaty renegotiated. And I argue that there needs to be a global ban on this type of research and development activity. It's clearly not safe. And those that are performing it clearly have few, if any, ethical boundaries. This is a gross failure of education, but we're talking about the CCP. So their ideas of what is justified are not aligned, let's say, with classical Western thought.
But we, as Americans, through our government, should be nowhere in the neighborhood. I mean, but by being a part of what they're doing, we're funding it, and so indirectly, we bear responsibility as a nation.
Funding, and we've provided technology transfer to there through EcoHealth Alliance. Tony, I concur. This is deeply troubling. And as I've observed before, and as have many others, we're in a post-truth environment. And we seem to also be in a post-ethical environment for a large segment of our government. It's driven by other considerations, realpolitik, Henry Kissinger's world, rather than the logic of the United States as the shining city on the hill and the ethical beacon for the world. We seem to have just abdicated that role.
Do Americans need to be concerned about the revelation of this research? I mean, beyond what we're talking about from a very practical election impacting, life impacting, could we see a revisit of what we saw with COVID-19?
Well, this gets into this issue of Disease X, which is a major focus right now, in addition to, quote, rebuilding trust at the World Economic Forum. And Disease X is repeatedly broadcast through corporate media over the last few days as 20 times more lethal than COVID-19. How they came up with that number, I have no idea, for a theoretical disease. But it absolutely, the logic here is being used to justify a major revision of power, increase in power and funding for the World Health Organization, the international health regulations, the new pandemic treaty. All this is coming to a head as we're rushing into both American and European elections.
Dr. Malone, we're up against a break, but it almost is if the WHO working in concert with the CCP, and I'm not.
And the web.
I mean, it's like they've got a hand grenade with their finger on the pen saying, approve this treaty because this is out there.